Hey everybody, welcome back to LettermenRow.com. I am Jeremy Birmingham. This is Bermanology. This week we are joined by one of Ohio State's rising targets in the class of 2021, offensive lineman Zen Michalski from Floyd's Knobs, Indiana, and Floyd Central High School. This is a little bit different version of the show because Friday I went to Floyd's Knobs to watch Michalski play and then interviewed him after the game. So I'm not going to be on camera doing the normal back and forth with him. But hopefully that's good for you, the watcher, so you don't have to see my face as much. Michalski is a really interesting player. He's committed to Louisville, a player that the Buckeyes started to talk to about 2 months ago and really are fond of his athleticism at tackle. He's a very raw offensive line prospect. He's only played the position for about 2 years, but he has a lot of upside. And later this week, I'll post some video from the game to kind of give an indicator of what the Buckeyes are seeing there. So please enjoy the interview with Zen. He is a player I think that ultimately will probably end up in the Buckeyes class of 2021. So it's good to start getting to know him now. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the flip side. We are here in Floyd's Knobs.
Floyd's Knobs.
Floyd's Knobs, Indiana. I'm with Zen Michalski. Coming off a tough loss here tonight, but it was it probably just feels good to play football at this point, right?
Oh, I mean, it's the only thing I want to do. It's like our entire lives. If we weren't playing football, I'd be getting ready for football. You know what I mean? So I'm so happy we got to play, but tough loss for sure.
You guys out here, you're playing left tackle, you're playing some defensive tackle. How much defense do you normally play? Because it doesn't seem like, from what I've seen on film before, that's not really a focus.
That was probably my only defensive snaps all year. My coaches needed me, and I went in there, did what I had to do. But yeah, it was tough. I love defense; it's fun, but I'm not amazing at it. But I had fun.
We talked a little bit coming into this game about your expectation because this was one of the better defensive lines you were going to play this year. You guys only scored 7 points, but you put the ball on the turf 3 times, and that sort of ended a few drives in scoring position. How do you feel like you personally, I know you haven't watched tape or anything, but how do you feel like you did, considering this was going to be the best defensive line group you played this year?
I think I did pretty good. There's stuff I want to improve on. I want to improve on picking up outside line, but we prepared all week for a lot of blitzes, but it was mostly up the middle, so we had to shift some stuff in game. But I want to get better at when we're doing zone stuff to pick up that outside blitz as quick as possible, and just better feet and stuff like that. Getting off the ball quicker, just everything I want to get better with.
We'll shift. Moving on, I know it's not always easy to talk about recruiting after a loss, but you're at this point becoming kind of a national recruit. You're up to a 4-star status on the 247 composite, 247 rankings. Ohio State offer, other schools have offered coming in. Committed to Louisville. How is this recruiting process feeling right now? Is it starting to get crazy? Is it starting to get overwhelming? Is it starting to actually get enjoyable because you're back on the field and people can see you? I mean, how do you explain that?
It's definitely enjoyable. Over quarantine, it was super overwhelming because I'd never done it before, and just constantly coaches calling and stuff. But definitely, I'm very grateful to have it, and it's definitely more. It's a better thing than a bad thing, I guess I could say. It's nice that it gives you more motivation because I already have motivation to play, but I want to play as hard as possible because I know people are going to be watching my film and see how I develop and see how I play. And that was a big thing this year because a lot of people last year was well, how is he going to play with 60 pounds? So that film was really important to everybody, and I wanted to show them that I could do it, pretty much.
When you are having those conversations with coaches, then how is the feedback from Greg Studrara, from Ohio State, from the guys at Louisville? What are they seeing on this new tape that makes them be like, hey, this dude can actually play. We don't want this one to get away.
Me and Coach Stud talk after every game, and I talk to most of the coaches after every game, and they give me feedback, a lot of positive and just constructive stuff to work on. But Coach Stud said that he really likes loves my athleticism for my size, and likes how I've played with my new weight moving forward, and just kind of more developing as an offensive lineman because I haven't played for too long. So just kind of learning the position more. They think that I have a really bright future for it, and he also likes that he thinks I can play guard or tackle for them. So I'm down to play anywhere, honestly.
How different, does it feel? How much weight did you gain from last year to this year?
I went from 217 to 288 from our last game to the very beginning of the summer. So I'm not sure. I think 65 pounds. So it was a lot of work, but it's definitely helped a lot. I feel a lot more stable. Like, if this makes any kind of like sense, I feel like filling up my body more, it feels like I'm quicker almost. I feel like I've gained more muscle in my legs. I just feel more stable with my steps and my kick steps and stuff.
What prompted that decision to be like, hey, you know what I'm going to do this year? I'm going to gain 70 pounds.
Well, actually, talking to coaches to begin with, when I got my first offer, I was around 250-ish, and they were like, it was a FCS, it was Indiana State, and they talked about my weight, and they're like, this is good. And my coach said, if you want to play at a higher level, you can't be 250 pounds. I was like, okay. And he challenged me to gain. He said if I gained 30 pounds, I'd be in a good spot from 217 plus 30. He said if he got me to 250, he'd be happy. But over quarantine, I just went to my grandma's for about 2 months and just ate a lot of home-cooked food. And we didn't have weights, so me and my dad did like speed work more than like weight training. I think that definitely helped put the weight on smoother than like just eating and lifting and sitting around.
What was like the go-to meal at Grandma's house?
Go-to meal, chili and baked potatoes.
How do you like your chili, Zen? What is the right chili? Because there's the white chicken chili, there's white chili, there's beanless chili, there's beef chili. What is the Zen Michalski chili?
The beef and bean chili with saltine crackers. Nothing beats. It's homemade too, so I don't know what she does to it, but she makes about like a gallon of chili on Mondays, and we do it on Thursdays, and I eat it from that Monday to that Wednesday. And it's weird eating the same meal over and over again, but like if it's good, like I see no problem with it.
You're talking about developing, and we talked earlier today about the relationship you've developed with Kiante Goodwin, who's another player from this area who actually has changed his body the other way, right?
Oh yeah,
so he's lost 100+ pounds since last January, and you mentioned something that I wanted to touch on, is how you and Kiante talk to each other after every game that you play, whether it's to compare notes on linemen, whether it's to compare your own notes. How did that friendship kind of develop?
Well, when I first committed to Louisville, I had my Instagram account and it showed my phone number. So I committed to Louisville. The next day I got a random phone call from a number from Kentucky, and I was like, okay, I don't know who this is. So I picked up the phone, and it was like this, he sounds so different now. It's weird, but it was like this like excited, like, I don't know how old he is now, like 15-year-old kid. He's like, hey, how's Louisville? Why'd you pick Louisville? And I was like, I thought it was just like a kid that just loves Louisville. So I talked to him for about like 38 minutes to an hour about it. And then I was like, hey, thanks for calling, man. I hope you have a good day. And he's like, yeah, I'm trying to decide because I have Alabama and LSU offers. So I was like, what? I was like, I thought he was lying at first because I had no idea who this person is. But he talked to me about that for a little while. And we didn't talk for a little bit, but then after our scrimmage, he called me up and he was like, hey man, how'd your scrimmage go? Just to check up with me. And I was like, you sound like a grown man now. I was like, what happened in 3 months? But we talked for a little bit about the scrimmage, and then it kind of became like a traditional thing. Like after our Providence game, I called him for a little bit and they talked about their game and how he's working on his game and how I'm working on mine and how we can get better. And I think the plan is after the season, I'm gonna go train with him a little bit and his coach, because I know his coach is extremely good. But everything he's done is extremely impressive too.
When you're talking to a guy like that, you guys, I mean, how much talk is there about recruiting? Because obviously you're similar situations right now in this area of southeastern Indiana. It's rare to have people in your position, right? Guys who are being recruited by Ohio States of the world. How much of that conversation is actually about recruiting, and how much is it about just the shared experience? Just
50-50. It's tough. It's both of us. He's been around people that have been recruited, but I haven't. So he kind of helps me with like inside stuff and just how to deal with things. And we both talk about our how to I guess improve on our game, and like sometimes school, even like grades and stuff. Just trying to make each other better. And that's really all, honestly. Just we're probably like half and half with recruiting, football, and then school in there.
Going back to recruiting, how surreal is it? Because as you said, you haven't been around even guys who've been really recruited. Kiante's been around like Rondale Moore and Rondale Robinson and those guys. But for you, I mean, does it feel real yet?
No. I told my coach that the other day, actually, when I got the day I got the Ohio State offer, I called him. I was like, hey coach, I got a big one, and I told him what happened, and he was like, pinch yourself, are you awake? And I was like, I don't know. So like the whole rest of the day, I was like, not sure what, like, if it, you know, but where I'm just extremely grateful for it. It still doesn't feel real because I never expected any of it. Like after junior season, I was just like, I hope to God a D2 school gives me like a partial scholarship and I get a little bit of school paid for, but we hit the jackpot.
Well, you said Indiana State was the first offer. That's the only school you've been to on a visit. You are one of the guys on the internet this week that started the hashtag, end the dead period. How important is it for you moving forward that happens? I mean, to be able to visit the school that you're going to go to, whether it's Louisville or Ohio State, anywhere else, like at this point, do you feel like you're having a major part of this process kind of taken away from you?
Definitely, and it's really tough to make decisions. Like when I went to Indiana State, initially I thought that was gonna be my only offer, and I was like, whoa, this is so cool, look at this. I've never been to a campus before, I've never really left the state before, so it was a really cool experience to just go see everything. And I was like, man, I kind of just want to take it. I kind of just like ensure that school is paid for. But I talked to Coach Brady, told me to wait, but I think it's a really big part because some coaches are different over text and over in person, and some can't, like they can talk about the campus all they want and send you cool videos of the campus, but like you can't like go and get the on-campus feeling of it. So like I think it's just ridiculous too that they pushed it back to January, which it kind of just screws over all the early enroll kids like me that haven't gotten a chance to see anything.
So that is in your plan to enroll early?
Yeah.
Is there a part of you or your family, are you guys trying to figure out how, like, hey, let's just make the 4-hour drive to Columbus and see the place like other kids have done that? Is that in your plans? Because you know, if you're going to enroll early at this point, you're not going to be able to visit campus and see coaches, so it has to be done on a personal decision, right? Is that in the works for you?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're talking about that a lot. It's something that's really important to my family too, just to make sure I'm going to a spot where I'm 100% sure I want to be there, and 100% sure I like the city and just the campus and everything in general. So it's definitely something we want to do.
I know how new this whole process is to you, so I want to just, have you really started to figure out what's important to you in this process? Because everyone's looking for something different. So Ohio State isn't for everyone, right? But obviously there's opportunity there that you might not get elsewhere. What is important to you in this process?
Coaches and connections. Because it's really nice to be in a cool city or a cool town or a cool campus and have the coolest weight room, but if I don't have a good connection with my coaches or the feeling with the commits too, like I want to be in a family and not just someone out there that is a number, you know what I mean? And I'd take that over a cool stadium any day. So I'm really, and especially with COVID, you have to base it off relationships. So that's a really big thing for me. How
much contact has there been between you and the Buckeyes class of 21?
Oh, a lot. I talked to Travion a ton. I talked to Ben a lot, Davon. I think that's how I say it. I'm not 100% sure. He's the other guard, the 5-star guard.
Oh, Donovan,
sorry. But yeah, I've been in contact with them a lot. I talk to Coach Stud almost every day, Coach Cook too, and Coach Day. So they've really built a good relationship with me. But
you can say bye to your people.
That's what I'm basing it off of, really.
Well, look, Zen Michalski, I'm out here in Floyd's Knob. Is it multiple knobs or just one
knobs?
Knob? Okay. It's a weird name for a city. Great facility here, though. I'm glad I got to come down here and talk to you guys and watch it play. This has been Bermanology on Lettermen Row, and thanks for watching, everyone. It's a little different than normal because I'm behind the camera, not in front of it, but that's what happens when they're on the road. So thanks for joining us, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So that was Zen Michalski, Ohio State's latest target on the offensive line in the class of 2021. This has been Bermanology, brought to you by Lettermen Row. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you next week.